century, I guess. So he was a person who defined entrepreneurship as systematic innovation, which consists of purposeful and organized search for changes. And this systematic analysis of such opportunities might offer a chance for economic and social innovation. Okay, so he was the first person to give an idea of innovation or put an idea of innovation into the whole matter of entrepreneurship. Alright. Now, what is the difference between? Okay, I just missed a point. I think just a minute. Okay, and yes, of course, why we are speaking so much about entrepreneurship these days is because it is a change or it is something that is capable of immense growth potential for the country as well as its economy. So, policymakers and academicians generally agree to the point that entrepreneurship is very critical to the development and well-being of our society. Okay, entrepreneurs they consider are capable of driving and shaping innovation which can speed up structural changes in the economy. It is, the entrepreneurship is thus considered as a catalyst for economic growth and also national competitiveness. That is why you are having so many programs on entrepreneurship and innovation these days, because we or the policymakers or the society considers you youngsters as very much capable and potential of potent of developing beautiful enterprises in the future, which can lead into tremendous economic growth for our country. Okay, so we look forward to you very much. Okay, so the next one, what is the difference between an employee or an entrepreneur? And with the context that we were speaking about till now, so I'd like to say that the major differences are quoted here. Though there are much more, the major ones are with respect to the work, the effort, the support that is obtained, as well as the income. Income is the most important factor. So with regard to the work schedule, so you have to know that work schedule of an entrepreneur is never predictable. Okay, that any emergency can come up at any time, and you are the one answerable, whoever is building the enterprise, and you have to be there no matter what the time or situation may be. Okay, but you know that in the case of a job, it is not like that. We just work for some time and our work gets finished over there. But with the enterprise, the entrepreneurship that you are carrying forward, just a minute, please. 1 minute. Okay, so I think you can see my slides still, isn't it? It's fine, right?
Yes, miss.
Okay, okay. So I was speaking about, okay. So the work schedule is right, quite unpredictable. Okay, and you have to be always there. Next is the effort. So it's like quite loads of hard work, and the hard work we mentioned here is much bigger than we can ever imagine. It has been so with me. So I can tell you, hard work is not something that anyone could ever imagine. So it's a lot of serious effort that you have to put in to bring about your enterprise into a successful position. Okay, next is the support. Okay, support, we usually have a basic support system or a management or an HR for everything and anything in a job or an employment that you are having. But when you are running an enterprise, the support system is very limited. Okay, you are answerable to everything, and all the decisions that are to be made are to be taken by you. And if any decision is wrong, if anything goes wrong, it's all up to you. Whatever was the negative of that decision, you have to bear it both emotionally as well as in the monetary scale. Okay. Next is of course the income. The income is of course very unstable, at least during the initial years of the startup. So starting your own business, that you must be willing to give up the security of a regular pay scale. And with regard to life science based startups, we rely heavily on research or scientific based innovations. Okay, science based innovation. So there are many series of like common scientific challenges, especially with live or biological systems. You of course might be well aware that when we conduct an experiment in the laboratory, how difficult it is to get a reproducible result or at least find a meaningful result. So with when we are working with live systems, and it is often a part of the life science stream, so it is very difficult to get a fruitful result and get easily the monetary benefits from the venture that you're starting. Okay, so these are generally overlooked with regard to the life science startup. Even when we say entrepreneurship, it is generally talked about like with respect to the IT sector. Okay, so there is a lot of difference from the IT sector or any other industry and a life science based startup. So this is usually overlooked. That's why I make it here a point that it is quite more difficult with regard to a life science based venture. Okay. Now coming to startup, the term that we have been hearing for quite a long time these days. And so defining startups can be a little tricky. Okay, it's not quite straightforward. And different economies have given different definitions for startups. And with regard to our country, according to Indian system or Indian startup governance, a startup is an entity that is younger than 7 years. Okay, so after the establishment or registration of your startup, up to 7 years, it will be called as a startup. But thankfully, it has been 10 years for biotechnology and life science-based startups, just because of the constraint that I just mentioned earlier. Okay, the difficulties arising with the utility of the live specimen. So it is 10 years for biotech-based startup. Others, it is 7 years. So another condition is that the entity should not be having an annual turnover of more than 250 million. And another important criteria that it should be registered in India. Okay. And a little bit history about the startup thing. Okay, so what is it? Yeah. Okay, so entrepreneurship actually in India was the spirit was very low before independence, and the concept of entrepreneurship and startup began taking place only after liberalization, and we can more generally say that it was happening only after 2008. Okay, and it was as a result of the recession that was taking place world over. Okay, and so it was what initially just after independence, the greater focus was given into large scale industries. Okay, like the Tatas and the Birlas and all, even Ambani's. Large scale industries were getting established, where with a trickle down effect, they could even meet the needs of the poorer sections of the society. That was the initial concept soon after independence, and it was focusing more on self-independence for the country, self-reliance for our country. Okay, that was the concept earlier. But after the liberalization reforms in 2008, the concept of small startups began taking shape, and the Indian economy started to realize the benefits of privatization. So it was after 28 that the startup boom began. Okay. With regard to Indian startup ecosystem, which is of course one of the most robust startup ecosystems in the world right now, it is the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. Okay, and it is estimated that there will be a consistent growth of 12 to 15 percentage annually, with around 2 to 3 startups getting born every day. Okay, entrepreneurs, startups, investors, and internet penetration are the four fundamental pillars that are considered to assess the performance of any startup in the world, and India is growing positively on all four of these aspects. Okay, you can read some more figures over here in this slide. That is all about the Indian startup ecosystem right now. Okay, coming to the next slide. So every enterprise is unique, just like each person is. Every enterprise is unique, and so are the entrepreneurs who create them. And behind every startup, there is a story that has one or more persons who are deeply inspired to bring about a change in their society. There is an idea that they are deeply passionate about and are deeply connected to. They work on this idea, they mold it and shape it into a useful product or service. And in every startup ecosystem or every startup story, failure is as much a part as is success. You cannot say it was all smiles or it was all success. There are many failures before you finally achieve success. Okay, so even if you are trying to venture out into the area and even you get faced with negatives or failures, you should never be discouraged or disheartened. That is the most important personal quality or personal trait that you must be having. Okay, you ask any entrepreneur and they'll proudly tell you their failure stories. Maybe not just one story, but many. So before a success story, there is always a failure story. Okay. So if you are ready for that, then you can obviously go into the field of beginning a startup. Okay. So before you start to work on your startup idea, you have to realize that startup is basically a company working to solve a problem where the solution is not very obvious, at least to others, and success is definitely not guaranteed. So if you are super passionate about your startup idea, and the passion should help you navigate through every adversity, then it is fine. Okay. Passion is one of the key, and it is one of the most important intangibles that drive an entrepreneur. Working hard, as I said, is just very, very hard. It's hard enough. It's too hard to imagine, but it is really hard, and you should be prepared for that. And you should be ready to accept failures, and you should never give up on your idea. And if you are prepared for all that, let me just take you to the different development phases of startup. Okay, I'm just giving you all the basic things. Okay, it's all I'm taking it very fast, but I hope you can follow, because there are so many terms. If you have ever heard a talk on entrepreneurship and someone is talking to you, you must have heard of all these terms. That's why these terms I have incorporated in this. I'm not talking in detail about each one, but in case you are trying to understand more, these terms will be of great help to you. Okay, so I am not very sure if I'll be able to finish with that within the proper time of 11:30, but still we can go ahead. Okay, I'll try to finish maximum details, and I can include maximum details as many as possible. So yes, so different stages of development of a startup. So basically there can be three stages, that is a pre-startup, startup, and growth phase stages. Okay, these all come through different other steps or sub stages as well. We can get a glimpse of each of these ones separately. And first, before you hire people, or before you rent a space, or before you think about the monetary aspects, what you need to venture into this arena is a unique, brilliant idea or an innovative idea. Innovation is the key term that you always hear in the startup economy. So it is an innovative idea. So that is what I have shown here, unique idea. This is the whole journey before you finally reach the stage of actually starting up. So that each of it we can look into it in further detail in the coming slides. Okay. So the idea or the unique innovative idea. So every startup begins with one key idea backed by a vision. Okay, every person or every entrepreneur or every team of entrepreneurs behind the startup, they are having a unique idea or a vision or a passion with which they hope to build an empire. Okay, so the key to every successful business lies in that unique idea. And if you take a closer look at all the successful billion-dollar industries that we have around, you can find that they had something in common, and it is that in their time period, they understood an issue that many people had. Okay, it might not be a serious issue, but it was definitely something that they could work upon and they could monetize. So they identified an issue, they analyzed the problem and worked out a solution, and that solution was something different. Though not very innovative or anything, but it made something easy for the customers or the people. So that's how they started. They identified a problem that many people had. So if you want to hunt for a startup idea, here are the steps that you can do. The first one is self-discovery. Learn what you enjoy doing, and then it will be much more easier. So you can find out what you are really passionate about, and you can think about your work experiences, and you can relate to any innovative products or solutions that you can come up with. Okay, and then definitely you have to look out for problems. The second step is looking out for problems. It needn't be into some library or Google search or anything. You have to look around in your society. Watch out for other people's requirements. What are their problems? It might be a simple thing, it might not be there in any books or anything, but if you identify some problem or some concern that is there in the society and you think you can address it and that you're passionate about it, you can definitely go ahead with. So maybe for working out the problem that you are going to address, you can take a note of all these problems that bother you or that you think you can come out with a solution for. So you can note down all of this, and then you can find out one from among all of them with regard to analyzing your own qualifications, your skills, and your experience and your know-how and all. Okay. So find out a problem that messes with your mind. Look for what interests you more, and look what all solutions you can offer for that in an innovative way. And of course, you can also consider the monetary aspects behind it. So thus you arrive at an out of the box or innovative solution. So you have You finally have a solution which everyone can use. It offers a better alternative to the solution that might already be there. Like if it is a product, okay, a product is already there, but you think the product needs some more improvement so that it can make life more easier for people. Like we used to nail what put nails into wood or walls long time back itself. Okay, we used to nail it down with a hammer. But see, later came an invention or innovation called the nail gun. You definitely know that it has made the work so much easier. Okay, the technology has made life so much easier for so many people. Like we don't even think of nailing using a hammer these days. So that is the innovation that has come about. So that is what you should be looking out for. And now you have an idea. The next step is opportunity evaluation. Okay, and there are some basic questions that you need to ask yourself or evaluate to consider the opportunity at hand. The first one is the problem or the product that you have thought of, is it relevant enough? Is it required? What is the actual need of coming out with such an innovation? Okay. Is there sufficiently attractive a market opportunity? That is with regard to the financial aspect. Is there a market for the proposed product or solution? And the next question that you might ask yourself is the solution feasible with respect to the market perspective as well as with respect to the technology? Do I have the skills for developing this solution? Okay, that comes to the next question, that is competitive position. Are we competitive enough? Okay, and sufficiently over a long time, not just for the few years, it should be over a long term. That can we stay in an advantageous position for a long term, that this solution won't be overcome. Okay, someone won't come out with a better solution than yours already within 2 years. Then it will be a loss for us. So, will this stand for a long time? And do I have the and then it comes to the skill set. Do I have the skill set, or do I have a team that can help me realize this vision? Okay, that is the next question or the fourth question that you can ask yourself. And the final fifth question that you can ask is, what is the risk or what is the reward profile? Is it all risk, or is there some scope of a reward soon enough? Does it justify the time and money that I am investing into this? Okay, am I passionate enough, or will it be addressing my monetary requirements as well over a certain period of time? That is also something that you need to evaluate. Okay. Okay, next one is how you analyze and validate your solution. Now you have come up with a solution. You have already got an idea. You have thought about it a lot. You have analyzed. You have evaluated all the aspects, and now you are coming to analyze and validate your solution. Okay, this is a more technical term. So first, before you go ahead with this step, you have to think that whether you are enjoying what you are doing. Is the feeling of passion that you're having over this problem, is it real? Is it still there? That is what you have to think ahead before each step of progress. Okay, before you move on to the next step, you have definitely you have to look back and think whether I really want to do this or not. Okay, so to analyze and validate your solution, first it is regarding the product or service analysis. So the very first thing that what you need to check is what your product offers to other people. Okay, is it making a solution cheaper, a solution that might already be there? Is my innovation making it any cheaper or more accessible or more easy to use or something like that? There should be some value addition to the solution that you're offering. So that's what we say that it should be a bit unique. Okay, India being a densely populated country, you have to always remember that quality matters a lot, and so does the price. So in all these aspects, you have to think. Okay, and the next thing is you have to analyze if the market really needs your product or service. Okay, I've just spoken a few words about this earlier. So you have to think whether it is really essential for people and will they ever go for it actually. Okay, validate. Next is validating. That is valid. You can validate your idea through market research. Okay, market research you can conduct and analyze what will be the prospect of this solution. And the third one in the analysis and validation part is interaction with audience. And this is quite easier these days, as through this you get to know some of the thought process of the prospective customers or the future customers. Okay, you get to know the customer's point of view. You can refer to various online forum website, or you can even conduct Google form survey or anything like, or online survey or anything like that. And you can harness the power of social media to review people's feedback on the idea or the presently available solutions that are there. Okay, there is actually no perfect trick to get through with this, but you will get to know of it when you go ahead with that. Okay. Okay. So next an important part of the validation system is a minimum viable product. Okay, this is a term that you will hear once you are entering into this stream. A minimum viable product, and there is also another term called prototype. This is not very important with regard to a life science point of view, but generally for any format or any proposal that you have to submit, you have to know what is a minimum viable product. That's why I'm telling you something about it over here, because you had and heard and or attended an entrepreneurship talk and you didn't hear of MVP is very bad. So a minimum viable product is the part that you will be actually working on your product. Okay, you can see a picture here. It is a prototype. So it can be something on paper, a picture or draft or anything. And it can also have interactive or functional properties. It can be like a model or anything, but not necessarily so. Okay? It can be just on the paper, it can be a picture or a drawing or anything, or a structure drawn or anything. But a minimum viable product is something that is a most basic form of your product. Okay, it is just the difference you can see over here. Your actual product might look like this donut. It is so beautiful and tempting, anybody will want to buy. But the minimum viable product, it's not like that. It is something that can be, it is a version that can be built at a lower cost, and it can be built very cheaply, and it is the most basic functional form of your final product. And by using this, we can understand whether people will be interested, even if it is not looking so very attractive or anything. Even if we can understand whether people will be interested in this solution that we are offering for the other qualities that it has. Okay. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me right away. Okay, you don't have to wait for another time. So a minimum viable product is a basic form of your product that saves time and money, helps you get customer feedback, and generates early leads. Okay. So next one is a business plan. Business plan is also another very important term that you have to hear and you have to know when you are speaking about startups or entrepreneurship. Okay. So business plan, and the most highlighted thing over here, that is the business model. It is the one of the most important parts of any proposal or any pitching that you are doing for raising funds for your startup. You have to get money, right? So the business model is that something that every person looks forward to. That how good is your business model? That is the thing that anyone will analyze before giving any funding to your company. Okay. So there are many different parts in a business plan. This itself can take a big, long enough class. But now I am just mentioning the most important parts of a business plan. Okay, in your business plan, you should incorporate this following things: the milestones or objectives of the company, who are the target customers that you are expecting to have. Okay, and there should be a description of the market objectives. Market description as well, and there should be definitely a business model, which in turn consists of so many other parts. Okay, then there should be mention about the management and organization, and it should have an operating plan. That is, it should include a company timeline, the plan about how you will arrange the staff or the team, and then there is an operational plan, a budget or a financial plan. These are the most important parts of a business plan. Okay, and having a business plan, what does it do? It helps you look holistically at your own business, and you can understand how it is going to work in the future when the time comes, how it is going to perform. And it will also help you to present the idea or pitch your idea in front of someone else for financial assistance, or even for even before probable or prospective customers. Okay, so that is how business plan helps you in your journey. And next is the incorporation or launch, formal launch of your company or startup or enterprise. Okay, enterprise is generally like it can even sustain without much innovation. Okay, but startup has definitely got to have some innovation part into the objectives or the solution that you are offering. That is the most important difference between enterprise and startup. Okay, speaking about myself. Okay, I'll come into that later. Now we'll move ahead with the incorporation part. So when you are beginning on a startup journey, the most important point is to register your entity in the proper way. Okay, it should have a legal credibility and it should be registered as a legal entity. So there are different things to consider while doing this. Okay, so you can also get the help from a business consultant or a chartered accountant while you are doing this. First thing you have to choose is the right business structure or the type of corporate entity that you are going to register as. Okay, and it can be a proprietorship, okay, proprietorship, limited liability partnership, or a private limited company. These are the options that are available for registration of a startup. Okay, and when it is a proprietorship, it is what it cannot be considered as a startup for in India after 5 years. Okay, till 5 years it is fine. After that, it is not considered as a startup. Okay, so it is better that you right away register it as a limited liability partnership or a private limited company. Okay, so with regard to proprietorship, there is no registration required actually. Okay, there can be just an agreement between two people, or you can just have a document proof of that, and it will be a proprietorship. There is no much complication with regard to registering as a that is establishing as a proprietorship. Okay, and with regard to partnership, that is most important for us. The partnership needs two people to start with. Okay, there should be two people. There cannot be there are some limitations when we are going ahead with one person registering as a partnership. Yeah, obviously you can understand. Okay, uh, just a minute, did I confuse? Okay, and I just missed partnership. Okay, so partnership needs two people to start with, and of course you can or can keep away from registering it as your company. It can just remain as a partnership, and it is partnership that is known as a startup till 5 years, not a proprietorship as I just mentioned. Sorry, that was a mistake. It was not proprietorship. It is partnership that is considered as a startup for the initial 5 years, and after that it is not. Okay, and partnership is having limited paperwork and documentation when compared to a private limited company or a limited liability partnership. Okay, coming to the next one. This is the limited liability partnership and the private limited company are the two options that are good enough for any startup basically. Okay, to go when we go ahead with the further documentation and further processes for funding. So an LLP in India needs to be registered under the LLP Act of 2008. Okay, it comes under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and it must have two partners. Here also a single person won't work. Okay, we need to have two people undergoing the process of registration as a limited liability partnership. This mode of operation is generally more preferred by upcoming startups these days because there are various benefits with regard to registration as an LLP, including the operational flexibility, fewer compliances, and also lesser cost when compared to private limited company. Okay. So that is the mode of operation of LLP. Once you register as an LLP, you can later convert it to a private limited company as well. There is no issue. Okay, and private limited company registration, it comes under the Companies Act of 2013. Okay, and for legal formalities that you have to fulfill for registration as private limited company, these are more complicated and there are more financial involvement with regard to this. Okay, but this gives you access to several other benefits with regard to government policies. Okay, government policies are more available for what this private limited company. Okay, register. I think I'm running late. Okay, so next is registering the Startup India portal. Now you have registered your company with regard to the legal entity format. Okay, so you have registered either as an LLP or as a partnership. Next, you have to upload your documents on the Startup India website to be known as a startup. These are the things given here. Each of the steps is given here in detail. Once you log into their site, you can understand there are details on each of these steps and you can just follow each one as per the instructions given to complete your registration as a startup, and then you will be known as a startup belonging to India. You will also be listed in their common list of startups that are functioning here. Okay. Next is the funding part. So I said you need money to begin your work and establish your startup. Okay. So when you are looking for funds, there are many options. But then So you are taking the first step. It need not necessarily be a bank loan or anything. You can just arrange some money from your family and friends, or whatever money you are having at hand. You can use that and you can initially begin your work. Okay. And apart from that, when you go ahead, you might need other assistance from financial entities. Okay. So in that terms, you can look for bank loans. These are a common means of getting funds for your business these days. The complexities are much reduced, the paperwork are much reduced, and it is comparatively easy to get bank loans for your innovative startup idea. Okay. And next, after that, even that might not be sufficient in the long run. So then come angel investors. Okay. You can see here angel investors. You have seen all this, right? Family and friends, angel investors, venture capitalists. These are some of the terms that you hear quite often in the arena of startups. So I can speak a bit more on angel investors because you might even be reading about this in the newspapers, and also you have to have an idea what it is actually. Okay. So angel investors are individuals who are ready to invest in your startup. Okay, they don't look for much innovation or anything like that. Most of them don't. But they are out of personal interest in your business or in you personally. They can be even your relatives or someone. So there are people who are interested in investing in your startup, and this might be in exchange of share or equity. Okay. And many of these angel investors usually are people with lot of industry experience, and they will also be able to provide you valuable business advice. Of course, when it is out of family and when it is some person with industry experience, they can provide you valuable advice or feedback with regard to your idea or your solution. Okay, and however, you need to prove yourself or prove the credibility of your idea or solution before these angel investors, because before they are investing in it. Okay. Next is venture capitalists. Venture capitalists invest in startups which are of very, very high potential. And what they get in return is investment or equity or shares. Okay, that is what they are looking for. And they might even benefit when your company gets acquired by another company. So that is the benefit venture capitalists are having. That is not generally what an individual. It can be another company or legal entity as well. Okay. So that is the difference between angel investor and venture capitalist. Venture capitalist is the person who gets benefit even when your company is taken up by another company, but it is not sold to the angel investors. Okay. So next step is, before you move on to setting up a startup business or startup company, you need a right workspace, isn't it? So an office space is something very crucial for any business. So if it's not a company that requires many instruments and all, it can be worked simply from home. You're fine if you can work from home. A small space you can arrange for yourself and get started. Okay, but when you move ahead, you might need a space that is in a business area, and it might attract your investors. Or if it is a directly to a customer approach, if your company is having a customer friendly approach or you are directly selling to the customer, it should be a place that is very visible to the customer and easily accessible to any person. Okay, so that is the thing that you have to keep in mind when you are thinking about getting a workplace. Okay, next is you have to take care of your intellectual property. It is very important to have a unique name, logo, and other creative assets for your startup. You might not think of it as very important or anything in the beginnings, but it is very important that you have the rights to each of these, the name, trademark, and logo. And coming to the name, it should be something easy, okay, that anyone can understand, not much complicated. It should resonate with the idea that you are passionate about. It should resonate with your business, what you are actually trying to do. It should be easy to understand and say, and the idea should be communicated to the people who will be most using the same. Okay. Next one is building a good digital presence. You of course know this being here being a boom of social media and all, you can progress only if you have a good digital presence. Okay, so for that you can use anything, any channels of social media, search engines, etc. But if you are directly selling to your customer, that is, if you are a business to customer sector, you can definitely make use of channels like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. But if you are selling to another business sector, okay, like you're selling to another company, you're making a raw material that will be useful to another company to make some other product, then it is a business to business sector. Then other what aspects like email marketing, etc., will be of more use. Okay. Next, we are coming to the execution and growth. Okay, so here this is the actual thing about your startup. Now you have just started up, and what all things you need to keep in mind over here is that you have to follow the business plan that you are having. You have made a business plan earlier, and you must keep in touch with that, what all points you have mentioned, and you will be following what all things are mentioned in that. Okay, so here the importance of market research, business development, R&D management, operations management, etc., will be coming. So this is the stage that you are actually starting up. Okay. Now, okay, I'll just give a few slides about my own company. As I just said earlier, we are Green Clones Naturals Private Limited. Okay, so I am a plant biotechnology based person. So I was looking into innovative solutions that can address issues in the agricultural sector. Like there are many problems where we don't find quality planting materials, and there are disease issues, pest issues, over treatment with chemical fertilizers and pesticides. There are so many issues with so many agri crops and cash crops today. Okay, so I was trying to find a solution for many of these crops, and so it can make the agriculture as such a more sustainable procedure or a sustainable thing, and it can also reduce the cost involved in the process of agriculture for the farmers, which of course will lead to better income generation for the farmers. Okay, so that was the idea behind our company. Okay, and we basically work with plant tissue culture and micro propagation, plant genetic transformation, phytochemistry, and we are also into taxonomy, agronomy, and bioinformatics. Okay, we are a team of science enthusiasts, and just as you heard earlier, we are a group of doctoral researchers with over 10 to 15 years of experience in plant biotechnology and other plant sciences. Okay, just like you, many of us are also from the botany background. So this is what I was speaking about. Ginger is one of the key areas that we are focusing into. So ginger is having so many issues that we are trying to address to our innovative procedures. Okay, innovative solutions. So we are also supporting dissertation, student training, manpower upskilling, etc. This is just for your knowledge, that in case you need any help in any of this, even setting up a small multiplication units and all, you can definitely contact us. And we are also into such extension activities just like this. There are so many programs being conducted. Okay, and coming back to the startup. Okay, so startup is just like growing a crop. Okay, you need to sow the seed, nurture it, and give it the right set of conditions and take good care of it. There will be so many hardships, but in the end, you will definitely reap the fruits of your labor. That's what I want to tell you. So, in case you are trying to venture out into the area of startup, and as you are all life science students, I'll just like to highlight some of the areas of life science that are presently being considered. Okay, there are many startups already, but these are some of the areas that are currently upcoming, but it involves a greater expenditure. You need to invest a lot of money to move into these aspects. Okay, so other areas are like biofertilizers, vermicompost, biopesticides, agricanic, soil water quality testing, mushroom cultivation, indoor plants, and whatnot. Many of you, like you being botany students, you can contribute to many of these areas. Okay, if you are not looking into much of any technological advancement or anything, I suggest you can even, if you have so many plants or ornamentals in your backyard or in your home, you can maybe try cross pollinating some of them. Okay, like orchids and all, you can try cross pollinating them, and you can try to develop new varieties or germinate them or something. So if you by chance, it is just a matter of chance, but if you bump onto some new variety of orchid or even any other plant, it will be just a beautiful thing. Then it will definitely be an innovation, and you can further go ahead with application of technology into that. Okay, mass propagation, macro propagation, or even tissue culture based aspects that you can learn, and you can produce multiple copies here of your own new species or new variety, not species, sorry, your own new variety of that ornamental plant. So such options are there. That's why I said that you have to look around on in your own society what you can do. You can just keep trying. Maybe finally you will find out something that you are very keen to take up. Okay, so that's what I was saying. So there are other aspects, that is food processing, probiotics, wine production, and food supplements. As we are all moving back to herbal and more healthier options, there are things that you can consider in these areas. Okay, if you want to learn more and if you want it to be more techy or technologically upgraded or more of biotechnology or anything like that, genetic transformation or molecular biology or anything, the other areas are the personalized medicine, gene editing, bioprinting, biomanufacturing, environmental remediation, and all these things are also there. Okay, and next are some of the schemes of assistance that are available for startups like you and me, for students and otherwise. Okay, for students, the early stage startup grants are there. Many agencies like Department of Biotechnology are offering funding for students' innovative projects. Okay, so even if you don't think it is very innovative, you can definitely go ahead and apply, because innovation doesn't always mean that it was not there for a long time. It is something definitely completely new, nobody has ever heard of, somebody will be just blown off by hearing our idea. It is not like that. Just as I said earlier, you just have to tweak it a bit. Okay, it is just a slight innovation that makes it more cheaper. A technology that is currently available can be made more cheaper or more accessible or more user friendly even to the most uneducated person. That itself is an innovation. Okay, when you think innovation, like I don't have to find a method of producing water from air. Okay, that's not the kind of innovation that we are looking into. Okay, that's not the thing that anybody is looking into. It has to be something that is of a better service or a better quality or a better price or any one of these aspects. Okay, that is what we refer to when we are speaking about innovation. So you must always keep that in mind. You might be thinking that, oh, I don't have any innovative idea. It is not like that. You have to think, how can I make it easier or cheaper, or what benefit does this idea cause? Okay, so that is the thing you have to keep in mind. So these are some of the programs that are available for students projects, so students innovative idea, and there are many more coming up. Okay, there are so many schemes that are in the pipeline that are not announced or out yet, but you can keep on the lookout and you can just grab the opportunity whenever it is available. Okay, there are also technology business incubators and university innovation clusters where you can get into, where you can get a space, and they also provide some sort of assistance with regard to funding. Okay, and you can there are some limited universities which are into this university innovation cluster. So if there is anything you want to know more on this, you can just Google it and know more. Okay, ACE funds, Srishti get the awards. That funding is from 2 lakhs for almost 2 years. Okay, 15 lakhs for almost 2 years. And the government funding for registered company. Once you have a solid idea and you have passed out, you can definitely look for uh, projects, schemes like biotechnology innovation grant that does not even need a registration. As an individual also, you can apply and you might get funds up to rupees 50 lakhs. Small business innovation research initiative. Some of these might need registration, but others are fine. So you have to be keen and be updated about all of this and find out one scheme that might be suitable for you. Okay, so from all that I was talking about for so long, I want you to rethink, okay, about the whole startup thing and developing an enterprise. So you have to establish it in your mind, deep in your mind. You have to establish it that if you want to move ahead with a startup, you have to commit to the long haul. It's not a year or a month or anything, or maybe it is not even 2 to 3 years or more. Okay, it takes a long time to establish a business, and more so with the life science stream. So you have to give it some time. You have to believe in yourself and you have to commit yourself to the long run. Do not ever focus on the short term. Okay, focusing on the short term will just give you disappointment. You have to be entrepreneurs who never give up before you have given your best. Okay, you have to give it enough time and you can definitely make an impact. Okay, one thing that will help you immensely is creating a product vision statement. Okay, like a statement like what I want to do, and also what I want to do, what in what way it will be beneficial to such category of people in the society. Okay, what will be the reason for people to go ahead with your solution or come to you? In this case, in this way, you have to create a product vision statement. Okay, like for which target customer you are, which is the target customer that you are focusing on, who will be benefited. So, for who, that is defining the particular need or problem. That is a problem presently disturbing the farmers in the agriculture sector. That is a problem. Okay. So likewise, you have to decide for whom you are coming out with the solution and who is actually in need of a solution for this problem and what will be the product name. Okay, if it is an agriculture produce or if it is a solution that makes farming of some crop more easier. So what is the product name and which category does my product or solution come under? Is it agriculture? Is it environmental technology? Is it bioremediation? Or it can be anything like that. Okay, so what is the product category? And what is definitely the key benefit or key statement? What will be the reason that compels your customer to buy your product or go with your solution? So, what is the key benefit? That is your it will all be mentioned in your business plan, but this is the product vision statement that you should be always having in your mind when you are going into the journey of establishing a startup. Okay, so you see, there are researchers and academicians and many people. There are people who are employed in many such big $1 million companies and all. So there is academia and there is a corporate sector. So the academia is the thinker or the researchers are the thinkers. They do the research or the thinking part for you. They publish research papers. They teach you what all things are there in the world around you. What are the intricate details of each of the system that you are working with, either a plant or anything. They give you the greater details. The corporate are people who employ these outputs. Okay, they use these outputs generated by the academia or the researchers for their own benefit for producing money. Okay, they are not much behind how it is going to benefit the people or how it can become more sustainable or anything. Okay, they are just behind the process of making money. Okay, generally, mostly it is like that. So, okay, we are not generalizing the whole community. There are CSR activities because there are people who are more focused on money. So, but a startup is generally what more concerned or more committed towards the society. A startup is like both a thinker and a doer. Okay, so they are thinkers and doers. So I can just say that the world needs dreamers and the world needs doers, but above all, the world needs dreamers who do. So I'd like to encourage you to take the risk of becoming a thinker doer rather than just being a thinker or just a doer or just going out and looking for jobs. You can be a giver of jobs. You can be a giver of numerous jobs. Okay, you can help so many people. So this quote by Sarah Van Ratnap is quite true in the scenario of startup. So I gladly invite you to join me in the journey of startup. That's all I have to say. Okay, and this is our office from where we work. This is a biotechnology incubator in Kalamasheri, Ernakulam. Okay, this is a biotechnology incubator called BioNest, and that is where we have rented a space for functioning. That is our office space, and we are having central instrumentation facility in the incubator, and also we have established some basic facility in our laboratory as well, from where we are doing all the work that I said regarding plant tissue culture, bioinformatics, taxonomy, agronomy, and all. Okay, so this is our office, and this is my email address given here. It's my contact number also is mentioned here. So if you have anything to ask anytime, subject wise or otherwise, any help that we can do, we are ready to help you any time of the day, any time, even after you have passed out of your program. Okay, so that's all I have to say. Thank you.